The fighting for Kamyanska has been going on for several years. For a long period of time, this section remained static, as neither side can conduct an effective assault here in the ruins of the settlement. Towards the end of 2024, there was an increase in the activity of Russian troops, who, after accumulating sufficient reserves, decided to cross to the opposite bank of the Yanchikrak River, which had become dry after the destruction of the Kakhovka hydroelectric power plant. During the raid, the Russian troops managed to advance along the bank and residential areas, reaching almost to the approaches to Plavny. Thanks to the coordinated actions of UAV operators and infantry, it was possible to cover a considerable distance with virtually no casualties. At the same time, it was not possible to gain a lasting foothold in the northern part of Kamyanska. The enemy transferred reserves to the area, which allowed him to stop further advance of the Russian troops. By the end of October, it became clear that it was difficult to supply Russian armed forces units in the northern part of the city due to constant UAV attacks, which complicated logistics. Therefore, the Russian command decided to withdraw units from the northern part of Kamyanska in order to preserve personnel. In December, the AFU conducted a counterattack and entered the southern part of the settlement. The enemy's advance infantry units reached the left bank of Yanchikrak River, and their further advance was stopped. In January, evidence emerged that the AFU had managed to cut further into Russian defenses. An AFU armored fighting vehicle was hit at the intersection of Kosmichna Star and the M18 highway. A month later, an enemy tank and APC were hit on the same highway. The AFU did not make any significant advances. After that, the intensity of the fighting in the area practically disappeared. Throughout February, there were several sorties by lone Russian fighters in the area of the farms, but no further advances were made. There was no AFU infantry activity at all. During the attacks on each other's positions, both sides faced the problem of organizing supplies and rotations along the dried-up riverbed, which is impossible to do without losses in the conditions of constant UAV raids and aerial control.